Hey everyone, welcome back to day 2 of my Legends push in Pokemon Go Battle League. Now I wanted to say today that most days from now on, I'm going to try and do as many sets as possible. I'm not going to be able to do all my sets every day, but we'll see what I can do. And I'm not going to upload every battle, because some battles are pretty boring in terms of, like I had a couple battles today where I just completely obliterated a few people. Excuse me, but it wasn't really fair. There's nothing to learn from me uploading a video of my Duskmane Necrozma sweeping a guy because he didn't switch out. He kept his Xerneas in, got one hit by Sunsteel Strike, even though he had Rhyperior in the back. So, there's just that sort of thing. Anyway, but I'll upload the battles that I think are worth showing, whether they're entertaining or whether they are informative or whether they were close. So that's what I'm going to do from now on. I won't upload everyone, but yeah. Without further ado, let's get into today's battles. Let's see what happened. There's some really close ones today. A lot of close calls, some good wins and some very bad losses. But anyway, let's just jump into it. Alright, hopping in the first match, leading a horse into a deer, and we know it's that time of year, and a deer beats a horse, so we safe switch into our wolf, because a wolf beats a deer, but not a horse. They stay and get the Moonblast off, and they safe switch ZYGARDE, which is the best answer. Everyone knows ZYGARDE is the best answer to every Pokemon in the game. This is a terrible matchup for the opponent. I'm not sure why they safe swapped ZYGARDE. I have a theory, and I'll talk about it at the end. Anyway, this is a very bad matchup, especially because I'm on Play Rough. So I get a shield here. They almost get the farm down. I'm forced to throw a Wild Charge. This would do nothing, so they won't shield it. See? Nothing at all. However, the good thing is here is that my Palkia can get a massive farm down. Now, I know they're not on Outrage, so they go for their Crunch. That does a decent amount. They might, they make it to another one. I won't shield because I know I don't faint to this one. So I get to knock them out. They bring in their Xerneas. So I safe switch into my ZYGARDE, hoping that whatever they have in the back, ZYGARDE has some play into, and it's a Zacian. See, I'm not sure why when I sent in my Zacian that they didn't send in their own after hitting my, or grabbing a shield with their Xerneas on my Zacian, because ZYGARDE completely loses to Zacian. But their Zacian, especially with a shield advantage, would beat my Zacian, so I'm not sure why they didn't send that in. Either way, Sunsteel Strike goes through, I have a shield to hide behind, so it doesn't matter what they get to here. Even if they're at back-to-back close combats, which they aren't, but if they were, Sunsteel goes through and gets them. And that's a GG's. I just want to show that game because it just kind of shows what not to do, to not switch in a ZYGARDE against a Zacian. But anyway, hopping into the next match, we're leading the horse again in Supreme Arena. Now, I'm going to check the fast move here. If it's Waterfall, I can stay in a bit. It is Charm, so I safe switch into my own Zacian. They respond with Necrozma. This is pretty bad. But Wild Charge, the good thing about Wild Charge is it does quite a decent amount to Necrozma, and two after some quick attacks actually can grab a shield or almost knock out as well. Sunsteel Strike comes through. I was trying to call a bait. They didn't bait, unfortunately. Bring back in my Palkia. Dark Pulse connects, does a decent amount of damage. Farm up a bit. Throw my Aqua Tail just before they make it to their next Dark Pulse. See if they shield. They do not. They let it go. They bring back in Primarina, I send in my Necrozma, and in the back is Rhyperior, and unfortunately this is just a loss, because with shields to hide behind, they win this game. The only way I could win is if they let this go, and they don't, so GG's to the opponent there. I'm just going to let it play out though, just to show I shield this move, it's probably going to be a Breaking Swipe. There it is. The debuff does not really matter. I go for a Dark Pulse, I'm trying to get a shield, but I do get a shield, and I snipe with my Palkia. Unfortunately, that doesn't matter in the end as they get a Charm down. I bring in Necrozma, but they have a move. And that's GG's there. I'm not sure what I could have done differently. I think there could have been a way to win, but I didn't get to it that time, so GG's to the opponent. Alrighty, here's the start of the next match, leading Double Horse. Now, this Palkia is Best Buddy boosted. Looks like it had the Best Buddy ribbon, but it doesn't look like it's equipped. But I'm going to make a catch of hopefully a Spatial Rend onto Zacian, as it's a fairy type. This is double resisted, does barely anything. They swap in their Kyogre. Now, I'm okay to see Kyogre here, as I don't really want to see it on Duskmane, and Wild Charge can do quite a lot of damage. They no-shield the first one, which is actually kind of unfortunate. and they get their surf. I let it go because I can come in with Palkia and get a little farm down. They bring back in their Zacian, and I throw a Aqua Tail, get some chip damage. They keep farming, and then there's the Palkia, and they get the snipe down, unfortunately. But I knew that my Duskmane Necrozma would be strong in the back, so I bring him in. I've got 2 shields against this Zacian, and they have to shield everything. I also have to shield everything, but Play Rough is unfortunate because I want them to debuff themselves, but they should be shielding everything. They shield the Dark Pulse. I go for the next Dark Pulse. If they don't shield, I farm down, so they don't shield, and this just shows that I farm down, even if they're at the back-to-back there. I think their win condition was to shield. If they didn't shield, they lose. But if they shielded, I think they would have won that match. Anyway, GG's. All right, next match, leading Palkia into Yveltal. Now, I'm okay to see Yveltal here, as I do not want to see it on my Duskmane. And here is a Necrozma save switch, and I switch in my Necrozma. Now, they get Stab on their Shadow Claws. However, my Shadow Claws are double super effective because they're a Ghost Psychic type. So I'm able to shield the Moongeist Beam and farm all the way down. Now, see what they bring back in. They bring in the Yveltal. I'm doing a bit of a kind of risky play, going for the Dark Pulse bait. It is successful, which means I can get this Sunsteel Strike. Now, this would almost one-hit or grab the second shield. They no-shield, and it does quite a lot of damage. Now I've got a choice to make. I can bring back in my Palkia, or send in my Zacian. I send in Palkia, they have Zacian in the back. I send in my own Zacian. Now this is a bit uncomfortable as they're one quick attack ahead of me. They play to the CMP tie. I think they go for their Play Rough. I go for my Play Rough. Now, because they're ahead of energy, I know that it will be a CMP on the next Wild Challenge, but they don't throw, which is a bit annoying as they can farm up a bit of energy. However, they throw here. I no shield because I know that Palkia beats Zacian in the CMP. And they bring in the Yveltal. Dark Pulse Oblivion when I can survive either of them. So I no shield. They send in Zacian. I play to the CMP tie. And even if they're at back-to-back, doesn't matter because I have the Aqua Tail. And that's GG's. Now, I know the main idea of this channel is to try and upload videos for me to improve, but I also want to show hints and tips and tricks that I know. So here's a lead, Palkia into Duskmane. Now, Duskmane on the lead, a lot of the time they tend to run Outrage Ironhead. It's 8 Shadow Claws, I think, to the first Outrage, so I shield on 8, and it is an Outrage, which is a good shield. They can bait, and that gets uncomfortable. I go for Aqua Tail. This will do a decent amount. They shield, which is pretty surprising. They shield the first one. I'll go for a second Aqua Tail here, and they shield that as well. So what I kind of see here is Palkia could be pretty useful in the back, and there's a Kyogre. That's a good example as why. But because they use both their shields, I'm up a shield. Dark Pulse does quite a bit. I go for the next Dark Pulse because they'll make it to a Surf before I make it to the Sunsteel Strike. And now they have to throw here or I'll farm them down. Come back in with Palkia. And they bring back in their Duskmane. I shield this, I'm pretty sure, right? No, I know shield. I called the Ironhead, see? And they have Palkia in the back. So they go for the Spatial Rend to knock them out. They won't be able to make it to double Ironhead before I make it to the Wild Charge. And we throw the Wild Charge. I just wanted to show that game because the opponent double shielded their Necrozma in the lead against my Palkia, even though I was just throwing Aqua Tails. And it cost them the game. GG's. Alright, I wanted to show this battle as this was a very good battle, leading Palkia into Landorus. This is a good lead for me. I go for the Aqua Tail, but I lose CMP to the Landorus, as Landorus beats everything in the CMP tie, unless your name is Mewtwo, or Deoxys Attack. You wouldn't be ever using a Deoxys Attack, though. Anyway, I make it to the next one. However, this time I'm not going to throw, and good thing I didn't, because they were trying to catch on their ZYGARDE. Now I bring in my Zacian. I don't go for the Play Rough yet. Even if this is Earthquake, which it probably is going to be, and it is, that won't do a ton of damage. So I go for the Play Rough, and then we'll farm up as much as possible because I need as much energy as I can get for Landorus. So I go for the Play Rough. They no shield, of course. Bring in Landorus and see if I can make it, and I don't, which is unfortunate. So they go for their CNC Storm. Now, it's good because they had to send their energy. They tried to snipe down my Palkia with their own Palkia, and I sent in my Necrozma. Now, I think here's where I made my first mistake. I definitely should have shielded this. I no shield because I know I can survive an Aqua Tail. However, Now I'm in a range where Dragon Breath plus Mud Shots will KO me. I go for my first Dark Pulse, and that gets them really, really low. And I keep farming, and unfortunately I make it to their move. Now here I should have 100% shielded, because then I could have thrown the Dark Pulse. It was a completely easy win. I don't know why I didn't throw the Dark Pulse there. I guess this is what I'm talking about. Watching these videos makes me see. Now I throw the Aqua Tail there, and they snipe me down at the end. I could have made it a tie, but I was just frustrated because that was an easy win for me, and I threw it. So GG's to the opponent. All right, here's the next match, leading Palkia into Dragonite. Now, this is a decent lead, but however, they outpace us as we get to our Aqua Tail at the same time they get to Dragon Claw. Now, I catch the Dragon Claw onto Necrozma. Probably should have caught it on my Zacian, but they don't have a hard answer to Necrozma. They safe switch their own Necrozma in. Well, sorry, not safe switch. They answer my switch. Now, they no-shield the Dark Pulses, which is very, very good. I'm going to shield and farm down because they didn't send in something that was a hard answer to Necrozma. I believe that Necrozma might have a bit of play in this battle. Farm up, go for the Dark Pulse just before they make it to their move. They no-shield, and they have a Charm Primarina in the back, which is absolutely perfect. This is why I kept my Necrozma alive. Now, I go for the Sunsteel Strike here. This would one-hit. They shield, but this game is over as I can bring in Zacian, double up on the Wild Charges, and that's it. And that's the end of the match. I shield the Hydro Cannon as it wouldn't KO me, but it would do a lot of damage. I make it to the back-to-back Wild Charges. Wild Charge number 1 goes through. Shielded, Wild Charge number 2 goes through. And this will be a good game, as didn't even need Palkia at the end there. GG's. And we lead straight into next match after this battle as well. I just wanted to show that one to show, like, I can analyze the game mid-game quite well in terms of I was able to realize that they didn't have something that hard counted my Necrozma, like a Ho-Oh. We lead a horse into a chicken. Now, everyone knows that a horse beats a chicken. So I go for the Aqua Tail here just before they make it to their Brave Bird. Actually, I think they made it to the Brave Bird, but just before they threw their next Incinerate. Now, they go for Brave Bird. I no-shield. It does a ton of damage. They safe switch their Necrozma in. I go for an Aqua Tail. I think I probably should have kept that Aqua Tail banked. Well, actually, no. Because I was behind on energy, I kind of needed to deal some damage to bring in my own Necrozma. Now, yeah, they go for Sunsteel Strike, which means they're probably on Sunsteel Strike and Outrage, because if they're on Dark Pulse, they would have thrown Dark Pulse there. Now, they go for their next Outrage Sunsteel Strike. That's a weird moveset, but it's not completely unheard of. Now, they send in their Ho-Oh. Oh, excuse me. They send in their Ho-Oh. Dark Pulse goes through. They actually no-shield, which I'm very surprised by. And then they send in their Dialga, and they shield up my Dark Pulse, which is a bit weird. Anyway, so now they have a lot of energy on the Dialga, and I have a lot of energy on my Zacian. I go for Play Rough here. This would be a good situation if I had close combat, but I don't have close combat. So I shield their first Iron Head. However, they're about to be at their next one, and here it is. I'm not quite sure if this KOs. I don't think it will survive on quite yet 1 or 2 health. However, they Dragon Breath me down as I got a bit greedy and went for another quick attack. However, I'm not sure if I would have been able to win that battle. But yeah, GG's. Here's the next match against Chesongo, where we lead Palkia into Dialga. So this is bad because Dialga beats Palkia. I safe switch in Zacian. They immediately respond with Landorus, which means they can make it to their Sandsteer before I get to the Play Rough. Now, if they were slow on the swap, I'd make the Play Rough before they made the Sandsteer. So this isn't looking great. However, Play Rough, even -1, still does a decent amount. Gets him quite low into the yellow. Now, I could make it to the second one here. So they throw... Actually, I think I survive. Yes, here's the thing. Zacian survives that second Sandsteer, and I make it to the second Play Rough, meaning they either have to shield or give up Switch. And now, with giving up Switch, I get to bring in my Dustmane against Dialga, which is a much better matchup than Palkia against Dialga. Now, I will shield because I respect the Roar of Time. It is actually a Thunder, so they're running Thunder Dialga, which I respect in a way. And now I have Kyogre in the back, and this is great. Palkia just completely obliterates Kyogre, even if it has Blizzard and Thunder. They still do a lot. Thunder, like here, Thunder does a lot, but, you know, triple resisted or double resisted, whatever it is, in the main series would be quad resisted. But Water against Palkia Origin does nothing. They bring in their Dialga there after I farm down their Kyogre. I throw a Spatial Rend just in case they decide to call a bait, which they don't. I go for a Dark Pulse here. I'm one off the back-to-back. They no-shield, and this could get interesting, but they realize that I realistically would make 2 Dark Pulses, so GG's to the opponent. All right, leading into this next match, Palkia into Enamorus. Now, Enamorus is insane. 5 Fairy Wind Switch Fly. They make it to their Fly here. I say switch in my Zacian. This is pretty terrible. And they switch in their Rhyperior. Now, if I was on close combat, this could be a bit easier, but I'm on Play Rough. So I go for Play Rough here. That does quite a bit of damage. Now, they won't be able to farm down before I make it to the next Play Rough, which I don't think would quite KO, but it forces their energy there. I bring back in Palkia just to absorb energy, because I know that the Enamorus is in the back. Palkia has no place to go against Enamorus, so I just need to one shield, farm down, even if they get a debuff, then I can start spamming Aqua Tails against the Enamorus, as even if it's one stage debuffed and it's neutral, Aqua Tails still does quite a bit of damage. As you see there, almost does 40% of their health. They bring in Palkia in the back. Now, this is decent for Necrozma, however, I am down a shield, so this is probably just going to look like a loss. I go for Sunsteel just in case they no shield, and they don't, which is unfortunate, because I thought if they no shield, I might be able to farm them down. However, they shield up the Sunsteel, and I will not be able to make it to the back-to-back Dark Pulses here to secure the knockout, unfortunately. Now, I farm up, and they have another Aqua Tail here, which is really, really unfortunate. I in the moment, didn't think they were at that Aqua Tail, and they bring in their Enamorus. Enamorus is a very cool Pokemon that I wish I had maxed out. However, I used all my Rare XLs and my ZYGARDE, which I might use at some point. I've been using it quite a bit, just not on this team. As my ZYGARDE's IVs are pretty terrible. It's 10, 10, 13. So, probably should have kept it for Ultra League. However, it's alright. I wanted it for Masters. Anyway, Palkia into Duskmane. Necrozma is the next lead. This isn't a great lead, especially if they're on Outrage. They build up to the Outrage, so I respect it. It is the Outrage, so that is a good shield. Now, I should farm up quite a bit. Right before they make it to the next move, I go for my first Aqua Tail, which will do quite a bit of damage. They no shield, and I go for the second one, because this will either secure the knockout or get the shield. And it gets the shield, and they go for their move now. I call a bait, and it's the Outrage, so that's unfortunate. But good thing is that because they're on Outrage, there's probably no chance they're on Dark Pulse, meaning I can farm down with my Necrozma. They bring in Kyogre. Now, this isn't a great matchup. However, I have energy advantage, so I can go for Dark Pulse here. They no shield. They go for a Surf here. Now, I learnt from yesterday's video to not throw one more, so I go for the Dark Pulse. Look, I'm learning, guys. I'm learning. And that actually gets their shield, which is great. So I bring in Zacian, farm up quite a bit of energy. I could have thrown there, but I thought if I shield and farm up a bunch of energy, that might be the better play for me. So farm to the back-to-back, I was going to say Thunder Punch, back-to-back Wild Charges, throw the first Wild Charge. They bring in their Palkia. Now, here's where I make a bit of a misplay. I'm not sure. I think Play Rough probably wouldn't have KO'd, but I thought, based on that amount of damage, that 2 Wild Charges would have KO'd. So I go for Wild Charge number 1 and go for Wild Charge number 2, and they survive for 1 HP. And because of that, I lost the match. I'm not 100% sure if throwing the Play Rough would have won me the game. It would have done like 95% of their health, but I'm not sure if they would have made the Aqua Tail first. Anyway, bit frustrating, but GG's the opponent. It was a very, very, very close game. And here we go. Leading Palkia into Shadow Rhyperior. I love Shadow Rhyperior. I wish I had a good one. I have a decent one. It maxes out at 41.78, but I don't have enough XLs. Anyway, they catch this Aqua Tail. Every single time I throw on 12 against Rhyperior, they always switch out. And the one time I overfarm, they go for Breaking Swipe. I'm not even kidding, that happened. Anyway, they catch on their Dialga. I respond with my Necrozma. I shield their Thunder, which is great. And I fire back with my Dark Pulse, which is no shielded, meaning I can now farm them down here, which is pretty good. They bring back in their Rhyperior. Now, I know a Breaking Swipe will not KO from here, nowhere even close. Mud Slaps, especially with Shadow Rhyperior, do a lot. So I go for the Dark Pulse bait. It is shielded, and I make it to the Sunsteel, meaning this will get their shield or it will KO them. And they no shield. That goes through. In the back is Primarina, and this game is over. Charm Primarina even Palkia does nothing in Charm Primarina. However, Primarina is very, very squishy, and these quick attacks are adding up. And I shield the first Hydro Cannon, make it to the back-to-back Wild Charges. And even if they shielded this one, which they don't shield the first, they know they've lost. Even if they shielded and somehow had a move, Zacian beats Primarina in the CMP tie, so GG's. Alright, here we go into our next battle, leading Palkia Origin into Landorus. Now, they safe swap into their ZYGARDE, and I immediately respond with Zacian, because everyone knows Fairy beats Dragon. Makes sense, Tinkerbell versus, Dragon. Makes sense. Land a Play Rough. They go for their Earthquake. Does a decent amount, but not too much. I farm up as much as possible. get to this next player off. This will KO if they let it go, and they do. So down goes ZYGARDE, in comes Landorus, and I make it to the player off, forcing them to throw their energy there, which is very nice, as now their energy dry. I bring back in Palkia, 3, 4, 5, and they make a catch. See, I think I lagged there, or maybe I didn't. I was trying to throw in the middle of the move. I accidentally did an extra Dragon Breath, so that was just my fault. Either way, they caught in Palkia, I bring in Duskmane. This is a decent scenario. Now, the problem there is that I didn't shield that Aqua Tail. I think, in hindsight, I should have shielded. You'll see why. So I get the first shield with Dark Pulse. Now I start shielding, but the problem is I'm getting too low now. Way too low. They bring in Landorus. They go for a move. I shield up because I need this energy from my Necrozma. I farm up, go for the Dark Pulse. Even though this is debuff, this will do quite a lot of damage. And they no shield, and that allows me to switch in, farm down, and their Palkia is on too low HP, so GG's. Leading into the next match here. Leading Palkia into Necrozma Duskmane. Very common lead. Most of the time I've noticed, especially in my elo range, most of these Duskmanes on the lead have Outrage. So I wait for them to throw. I decide to shield, and it's Iron Head. But that does tell me usually it's Iron Head Outrage. So I think that they're on Iron Head Outrage. And that means that if I faint, I'm probably going to bring in my Duskmane, as it will wall the energy from this Necrozma, as no Necrozmas run Iron Head Dark Pulse. Shield this one, it is an Outrage. And I go for the farm down here, which is good. They bring in their own Palkia, and I switch into my Zacian. I keep the Space Rend now. In hindsight, I think I should have thrown that Space Rend, force the shield. We'll see later. This is probably a situation where I need a bit of feedback. So I throw the first Wild Charge, no shield, to build up to back-to-back. Go for this one. They let it go, and in comes Palkia. I go for the Play Rough on the CMP tie. Maybe I should have thrown the Wild Charge early. I think I definitely should have thrown the Wild Charge. It's frustrating watching these battles back, because I know what I could have done differently. I needed to count the energy more on Palkia. I just get too carried away. I can't count all the Dragon Breaths. Anyway, Dark Pulse there, gets the shield. Switching is up energy, but I lose the CMP tie. That was frustrating. What I should have done is I should have anticipated that once I grabbed the shield with Duskmane, he would think I'm going to switch in. So I don't switch out of Duskmane. I let that Spatial Rend land on the Necrozma, then I'd be able to bring in my Palkia. Anyway, it's all hindsight, but I definitely shouldn't have switched out, because I didn't have Best Buddy Boost, and that's why I lost. Anyway, leading Palkia into Yveltal, save switch into Dialga. I respond with my Necrozma. I think it was Yveltal. I'm so sorry if that wasn't Yveltal. I'll see you later. Anyway, Dialga into Necrozma. I get my Dark Pulse off, try and go for the farm down, and I do get the farm down. I blind hit the Sunsteel Strike. Primarina comes back in. Actually, I think this... Yes, I remember this battle. Primarina no shields. And in this situation, I realize I'm about to lose to a bloody Togekiss. I'm about to lose to a Togekiss. Because as we all know, Tinkerbell beats the dragons. And I have no fast move damage on this Togekiss or Palkia. Aqua Tail is not lethal, so they will not shield it. And I need the back-to-back Wild Charge. And not only do I need the back-to-back Wild Charge, I need 3 Wild Charges because their Primarina is still alive. They send in their Primarina. I need to get the farm down here. It won't happen. Either the farm down or the back-to-back. GG's to the opponent. That was a very weird team. They safe-swapped their Dialga, even though they had Primarina in lane. Anyway, Palkia into Landorus. They switch into Zacian. I bring in Duskmane. They throw an alignment there, which is... Actually, sorry, excuse me. Actually, I think it was alignment because they were one turn ahead. It doesn't matter. Anyway, they're actually on Snarl, which is quite interesting. So, they shield the Sunsteel. They keep going for Wild Charges. Like, the thing with Snarl is against Necrozma, it is actually worse, obviously, because Snarl is super effective against Necrozma. Quick Attack I like better in general, but against Necrozma, Snarl is definitely the preferred move. They send in Landorus. However, they try for the farm down. They do not get it. I make it to the Sunsteel Strike. Will they shield it? They will not. Down goes Landorus. In comes Dialga. Now, let's see. The problem here is that I have no shields left. So I bring in my own Palkia. And I know I will make this Spatial Rend. And go for that. Get the shield. Now here, I think I made a mistake. Can't remember if I won this battle, but here I survived this Iron Head, so this play rough is going out. But the problem is I think I think I shouldn't have sent in my Palkia. I think I should have just gone straight into Zacian. I think in hindsight. Anyway, he throws his energy here, so I have actually won. I get the farm down, but that was a bit closer than I think it should have been. Anyway, that's all the battles I wanted to show for today. I left a few out because I didn't want it to be too long. We're already at 25 minutes. I had a few battles where, energy advantage on Necrozma in the back and it's Ho-Oh, or Yveltal in the back, or battles where I just obliterated a couple opponents. It just happens. I wanted to show battles where they were close or battling Pokemon that I wasn't expecting, to try and get as much feedback as possible, because I don't want to just show you when I win, and I definitely don't. I want to actually want to show more when I lose, especially when it's a battle where I know I could have won, not when alignment's completely off. If it's Dialga into Palkia and then Necrozma into Zacian and then Ho-Oh into my own Necrozma. But either way, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow. See you later.